don't know, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe nobody else thinks that's cool, but it was something that absolutely floored me when I came to Korea. 안녕하세요 여러분, Nomadic Maddie입니다. Hey guys, this is Nomadic Mada, and today I'm going to be telling you the 5 things that I absolutely love about living in Korea. Before I start this video, I want to give a general disclaimer. I think when people see videos like this, they tend to think,
oh, if you're saying you love all of these things, well, let me tell you, it's not all perfect.
Or if they see things that you hate about a country, they're like,
well, your home country is no exception, let me tell you about this.
But at the end of the day, no matter where you live in the world, there are genuinely going to be things that you love about living there and things that drive you crazy. Again, these are my own personal experiences, my own personal opinions, but maybe it'll kind of shed some light on some of the cultural differences that we have from Eastern and Western culture. So that being said, this is a 2-part video. There is the other half of things that drive me crazy about Korea too. It's not all rainbows and sunshine here. So please see both sides. Don't just watch one video and not the other and think that I'm taking extremes either way. There's a balance to everything. Okay, so with that huge disclaimer out of the way, let's get into the 5 things that really surprised me about Korea or were different that I really loved since coming here. Number 5 that I'll start with right off the bat is going to be Korean food. I don't think that every Korean dish is amazing, but in general, since coming to Korea, I've been really happy with the food here. I'm the kind of person that I will try everything and anything at least once. I really like trying a variety of different foods. I'm not afraid of something that's spicy or something that's kind of extreme or weird or different from what I would normally eat at home. I also don't have a lot of dietary restrictions, so I knew for the most part coming to Korea, I didn't think I would have any problem eating the food. But the reason why this really stood out to me and like why it makes it on my list of things that I love about Korea is because the place that I lived my first and second years in Korea had such a profound impact on me my first year here, and is the reason why I still travel down to Jeollanam-do multiple times a year. So the food in this area, as well as other rural areas around Korea, is really good. A lot of things are local, a lot of things are organic, and there are a lot of little mom and pop restaurants still that have this very authentic home-cooked quality to them. Where I'm from, family dinners are a really big thing, so I grew up eating a lot of home-cooked food, and to not have that anymore was kind of a bummer. Anytime I go to any one of these places, it feels like somebody's mom has cooked the meal for you. This stuff is really good. Everything has like such amazing flavor, it's really fresh, and like the spices are great. I know a lot of people complain sometimes that Korean food is just like samgyeopsal and they use gochujang and everything, but I've really found that there's quite a variety of food, especially if you get outside of the major cities and like really get into that traditional Korean home-cooked food.
김치찌개, 김치볶음밥, 돌솥 비빔밥, 짬뽕 하고 만두 제일 좋아요.
So number 4 on my list is actually the Korean post office. Now, a big part of this has to do with the fact that Korea is not a large country in terms of land mass. I'm from the States, the US is huge, and even when I order off of Amazon or something, usually it has to travel a large chunk of the country just to get to my doorstep. In Korea, this is not the case. You can mail something in the morning and have it arrive at your friend's house on the same day. A lot of stuff pretty much comes in one day, and even when I get international packages, because my family uses DHL, it gets to my door really quickly. At the post office, they provide boxes for a pretty reasonable price, and something else that's crazy to me is at every single like government-run post office, they provide like tape and markers and like all the things you need to actually wrap your box. You have to like buy tape if you want to use tape at the US Postal Service. Maybe that's because like one person ruined it for everyone and was like abusing tape privileges. I don't know. But it's just one of these little tiny details that for some reason it really jumped out to me. I was like, wow, that's really nice that I can just show up at the post office with the thing I want to mail. I can buy a box there, wrap it up at the desk, and like have it good to go. It's just so much more convenient. I've also had pretty good interactions with post office staff, whether it's in the countryside or now up here in Seoul that I'm in the city, and people in general are just pretty pleasant. I won't say anything about my postal service back home because I'm sure there are lovely people there as well, but I've had encounters with the Korean postal service where they've just been exceptionally friendly to me. They've been very understanding of the fact that I'm foreign. Even if they don't speak a lot of English, they're always willing to communicate, and that's been pretty consistent whether it's in the countryside or in Seoul. Number 3 on my list is kind of in the same vein, and it's banking in Korea. So this is something that I think a lot of other countries in the world have, but for whatever reason we don't in America, and that is bank transfers just being ready and available on your phone through an app. It's crazy to me that I am able to, on my phone, instantaneously basically open up an app, go to my account, not only see everything that's currently in my account, but wire money instantaneously to a friend. When you go out to a restaurant with your friends, Americans tend to really like to break up the bill. Everyone orders what they want, you guys all eat, but then at the end when the bill comes, you guys all huddle over it and look and see who had what, and it's like, alright,
I had the hamburger, so I only want to pay for that. Then somebody else had like a dessert and a drink, so they only want to pay for that.
someone else just had a salad, so they don't want to split the bill evenly, and it just becomes this entire, like, penny pinching, nickel and diming thing. And like, I used to do this as well. And then on top of that, in America, you have to add a tip when you dine out at a restaurant. And some people like to tip 20%, some people think you should tip 15, some people are and think you should tip 10. My point is, when the bill comes, everyone has a different amount that they want to pay, and they kind of just only want to pay their own way. It would be so much easier in America if we had some kind of app or like system like this where we could just instantaneously shoot somebody the money or like our part of the bill. That way one person can pay, but they're also immediately paid back and they don't have to worry about tracking down their friends or asking for cash or getting a bunch of small coins that they don't want to have to deal with. Now, to be fair, I haven't lived in the States for about 3 years at this point. I have been hearing that there are some apps and stuff out there that allow you to instant pay. I know Facebook has rolled out some stuff. I know a lot of people use PayPal. But it's still not the same as your bank providing you an app that you can directly wire to another bank by using 2 bank accounts. It's literally like a wire transfer, but you get to do it instead of having to go into a bank to do it. I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe nobody else thinks that's cool, but it was something that absolutely floored me when I came to Korea. Another thing you can do with your bank card here that's pretty awesome, which ties into my second point, is public transportation. When I came to Korea, my school set it up so that my actual debit card that's tied to my bank account is valid for all public transportation in Seoul. This doesn't only apply to the city that you're living in, but is like public transportation nationwide. So I can basically use my debit card as a tap on, tap off form of payment for the subway, the bus, and taxis. Not only that, but I can do that in Seoul, in Busan, and in other small cities all throughout Korea as long as their stuff is hooked up to that system. Obviously, something like this isn't really viable in the USA because the country is so big. Each city sort of operates differently, each state operates differently. It would be really, really difficult to have something like nationwide like this. However, it's something that absolutely amazed me when I first moved here, and I continue to love to use it to this day. And finally, the 5th thing on my list is probably due to the fact that I don't come from the biggest city and I kind of grew up in the suburbs anyway, but the shopping here and fashion is amazing. So there are a couple of different aspects to this that really surprised me when I came to Korea. The first is the fact that people tend to just take more care in their appearance in general. People kind of dress up and like make an effort to look not only presentable but kind of fashion forward or like show their own sense of style and fashion when they leave the house, no matter what they're doing. And this was something that was even found in smaller towns in Korea and in the countryside. People just tend to take a bit more pride in how they look and like brushing up their appearance and making sure that they look really polished and ready to go for the day. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to be wearing like full makeup and glam all the time every day, but it's definitely sort of re-inspired me to be more interested in fashion, to not be lazy, to kind of enjoy my wardrobe and get more use out of all of the stuff that I've bought. So I do appreciate it for that aspect. Other thing that I noticed that's tied into fashion and shopping and all of that here is the fact that men's skincare and cosmetics and fashion is so much more open and fashion forward and like pushes the boundaries a lot more. Being here in Korea has really highlighted for me how I don't want to use the term fragile masculinity because that's a very like negative and sort of aggressive term. However, I do have to say that being here in South Korea, there's a lot of stuff that I've seen Korean men doing or wearing or saying in terms of fashion and makeup and skincare or body care in general that would have immediately been dismissed as gay in the USA. And not only would it have been dismissed as gay, but it would have been said as if that was a bad thing for those guys to be caring about their appearance or their sense of fashion. And you know what? I think that men and women should be able to enjoy fashion. I think that if women are able to use makeup to cover up their flaws or insecurities or just have fun and express themselves, men should be able to do the same. Why is that exclusively a female thing? So I think it's really cool that Korea is a bit ahead of America in that regard and seems a lot more comfortable and secure with allowing men to express themselves not only through fashion, but makeup and skincare and sort of just general health and wellness. I guess what I'm saying is that it's nice to not see men shamed for doing something that's traditionally seen as more feminine. Alright, so those are the 5 things that I really love the most about living in Korea. Maybe they seem kind of mundane or average to you guys, but they're something that has had a pretty big impact on my life and that really jumped out at me as somebody who's lived here long term. So hopefully you found it interesting and they weren't just your typical run-of-the-mill cultural differences. And obviously I don't think Korea is the perfect place to live, so there is the other half of this video set pair thing where I talk about the 5 things that I hate or 5 things that drive me crazy about living in Korea. I'll make sure that I link it up above and you can check that one out as well. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!